Hey, Dr. Peter Osborne, author of No Grain, No Pain, here today to talk about a concept called the prescription pain trap. It's one of the most critical concepts I wrote about recently in my book, No Grain, No Pain. And the reality is this: there's more than 100 million Americans that suffer with some type of chronic autoimmune pain. Now, that being the case, what is the solution for the vast majority of these people? They run to over-the-counter pain medications, or they go to their doctor and they get a prescription pain medication. But there's a dirty little secret about prescription pain medications that tend to lead toward chronic pain that very few people are aware of. So I want to talk about that concept. Again, it's called the prescription pain trap. So the first thing is the person will take a pain medication. Now, if we look at what pain medications do, the vast majority of them will block inflammation. Now, one of the types of pain medications are called non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, or NSAIDs for short. Now, what these drugs do is they block inflammation. Okay, so they block inflammation so that we get a reduction in overall pain. But what they don't do is they don't tell us where the inflammation actually came from in the first place. But the problem with these medications is as they're blocking the inflammation, they actually erode the mucosal lining, okay, of our stomach and of our intestine. Now, the problem with this long term is that when you erode the mucosal lining, you leave ulcerations along the esophagus, along the stomach lining, along the intestinal lining. This has actually been shown in a number of scientific studies that even small doses of aspirin, small doses of ibuprofen can set the stage for this erosion of the mucosal lining. Now, many of you have heard of leaky gut. Well, one of the pre-qualifications for leaky gut is that erosion. So what ends up happening over time is we can get bleeding, we can develop an intestinal leakage or a leaky gut. And so then we're trying to block the pain by blocking the inflammation. We can get some pain relief by blocking that inflammation, but we're actually creating a leaky gut. Now, if we come over here and we look at leaky gut in and of itself allows for food and bacteria and chemicals that are in the food, like preservatives, okay, or pesticides. It allows these things to leak into the immune system. Remember, just behind the gut wall, we have 70% of the entire immune system. So we get the leaky gut occurring as a result of the pain medication, allowing foods and bacteria and preservatives and pesticides and other chemicals that are found within the food. And these things are leaking into the immune system. And so now the immune system is on. It's turned on because it sees a threat and it's addressing the threat. So the side effect of the immune system going after these things is that there's a collateral damage. There's an inflammatory response. So we get inflammation. And so now we have a pain medication that whole intention was to block the inflammation. It ended up inducing a leaky gut, thereby creating a leakage of things into the immune system that then perpetuated an inflammatory response. So you can see how being on these medications, maybe in the short term for a day or so if you have a headache very occasionally, but long-term use sets this stage. And so now we have chronic inflammation, and the chronic inflammation is what tends to cause pain in the first place. Now, that's not even mentioning the other side effect of pain medications. So I said that these pain medications can erode the mucosal lining and they can create a leaky gut or contribute to a leaky gut. But what I did not say is that these same medications can cause vitamin deficiency. And this is one of those big problems. So when we talk about pain medications, we have to understand that one of the vitamins that they can deplete or cause a deficiency in is vitamin C. But that's not the only one. We can also get a depletion of folate. And we can also get a depletion of iron. So these three key nutrients, iron is a mineral, but these two vitamins and this mineral are blocked as a result of using a number of different kinds of pain medications. So why is that critical? Because the whole reason that we started this process was a form of pain. In most people, it's joint pain or muscle pain, tendon and ligament pain. It's aches and pains or nerve pains. So the critical element to understand is that these three nutrients are absolutely necessary to control inflammation, to help in the healing process. You can't make new cartilage without folate. You can't produce the strong, elastic, tensile collagen fibers that help us make tendons and ligaments without vitamin C and iron. So if we are in pain and we gravitate to using that medication, then we end up creating a leaky gut as a result of that. And the leaky gut tends to lead to an over-responsive immune system that leads to more inflammation. And now we're even worse than we were before we started this whole process. Because at least before we started the process, all we had was the inflammation. Now we've got a mucosal disruption, we've got an inflammation, and now we've developed vitamin and mineral deficiencies that are crucial and that are essential for your body's ability to be able to heal in the first place. So, what's the solution? The actual solution in this scenario is to find the origin of the inflammation in the first place. In other words, what was it that was originally causing the inflammation that led to the pain, that led to the need or the desire to actually use the pain medication in the first place? And for many people, the origin of that inflammation actually comes from grain. Now, there's a number of different compounds that are found today in our modern processed grain. Many of you have heard of gluten. Gluten is one of those compounds. Gluten can cause a lot of inflammation. Gluten actually can contribute to and trigger autoimmune pain. It's pain like rheumatoid arthritis, pain like lupus and scleroderma and dermatomyositis and migraine headaches and thyroid disease. And realize that when you have thyroid disease, your metabolism slows down, so your muscles get shorter and they don't work as well and they can't get oxygen into them as well. So they start to hurt. So there are all these different conditions that end up as pain that started out as a food-induced autoimmune process or food-induced inflammation. So if we look at the diet, a lot of the simple solutions and a lot of the answers can be found there. So if you're one of those 100 million suffering from chronic autoimmune pain, step one, the first and foremost, one of the things that you can do is you can eliminate grain from your diet. Now, a lot of you say, well, what am I going to eat? Well, there's a lot to eat beyond grain, but I want you to try the 30-day challenge. And if you really need help, get a copy of No Grain, No Pain. There's a 30-day program within there with recipes and everything else that you can use to walk you through 30 days. Because if you do that, I can almost guarantee you that you're going to feel better, you're going to be more mobile, you're going to have much less pain, and you're going to just be better off overall. You're going to have reduced your overall inflammatory burden, and you're going to feel much, much better. And a lot of my patients, over 15 years of clinical practice that come in to see me, who we find are actually gluten sensitive, a lot of my patients end up being completely pain-free within 30 days. And that's why I challenge you. Grain-free diet for 30 days, and let's see how you do. And if you feel better, what I want you to do is email me at glutenology@gmail.com and share your story with me. I hope this was helpful for you. Dr. Peter Osborne, out.